It's match preview for our trip to Old Trafford today. Manchester United versus West Ham in the Premier League. It's a bit of a quick turnaround, isn't it? Considering the fact we've just played on Thursday night against Bournemouth. And I think the performance from that game is kind of lingering, really. And, you're going to certainly feel it in this preview, to be honest, because I'm not buzzing with confidence going into this one. I just feel that we're going to need a significant improvement if we're to get anything today. But look, before we go into the game to West Ham, let's talk about Man United. Really difficult team to predict this season, especially. I mean, I look at them and I don't really see much change year in, year out. Do you know what I mean? They change their managers. They keep doing this significant investment in their squad. And yet it feels like same old, same old. They're really way off the pace if you consider the fact that they consider themselves a side that should be challenging for the title and challenging for top honours, not only domestically but across Europe. And they are way off the pace. I mean, dumped out the Champions League this season, of course, finished bottom of their group. In a group really they should have advanced from. You look at them in the Premier League. I mean, okay, they are. We'll talk about this in a minute. How they sort of tend to keep grinding results out, but ultimately, as a club that size, they've got to be very frustrated with where they are. And Ten Hag has come in. I don't really see much improvement. I really don't. I did think that, considering the fact how well we did. In at Ajax when they brought him in, I thought he'd been a good appointment. I liked what he'd done out there, and I thought that was a really sound appointment. But I just don't really see any difference from say where they were with Ten Hag now, as I say where they were under say Solskjaer or Van Gaal or Mourinho. There doesn't seem to be much change. It all just seems to be the same issues. They've got significant issues within their squad with discipline. When you look at Marcus Rashford this week, or the last week, should I say, in regards to this Jolly Boys he's gone on. Look, I'm not to talk about that. I don't really care that much about it, I'll be honest. But it's like, it just shows a lack of discipline, doesn't it, amongst Manchester United when you've got a player like Rashford. Let's be honest, he's not a kid. He's a senior player at the squad. In the squad, and he's just gone out and done that. You just think it just shows that there are real problems at Manchester United. Of course, they've got their takeover. Well, somewhat takeover. 25% of it, anyway, has gone to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I think the plan is that he's going to be looking to eventually take full ownership of the club. But I've got to be honest, I don't really get it. I struggle to sort of get my head around the whole Ratcliffe thing. For Manchester United, I'm sure their fans are desperate to see that change. And I don't blame them. I think they've been totally neglected by the Glazers. Not so much for the funding of players, but more just the way that they don't really seem to care, do they? I think they're more numbers men, really, than anything else. I don't think they're that bothered about success. I think you can sort of see that, really, from the way they've handled the club. And you can understand the frustration from Manchester United fans. But I struggle to get I don't know. I don't see a clear path with the Ratcliffe thing. I don't look at them and think, wow, you can see now what's going to go on. You can see they're going to start challenging. I just think, I don't know. I think the proof's going to be in the pudding. But at the moment, there's a lot of work to be done at that football club. But I'll tell you what they do, Manchester United, which I think shows that they've still got that DNA about them, that winning DNA. All right, they're not winning as such because they're not challenging the top sides, but they just somehow seem to grind out the results, don't they? They're always there or thereabouts. I mean, the fact they were in the Champions League itself this season shows what they did last season, and they weren't that great. And even this season, you consider the fact that we're saying that West Ham are having a very good season domestically, points-wise, are doing very well. With Manchester United beat us today, they'll be going above us. So although they're not quite at it, they're still there or thereabouts. They're still going to be challenging. They're still not miles off, Champions League places. So despite the fact they've been really poor, and you cast your mind back to the game, the reverse fixture at London Stadium not so long ago, before Christmas, wasn't it? That we won 2-0. We were just so much better than them. We played off the pitch. I remember thinking to myself that I can't believe I'm watching Manchester United. This is a huge football club, and I just wasn't impressed. I was looking around the pitch thinking, I don't really see many players here that I want at West Ham, and that's a really strange thing to think when you're playing a side like Manchester United, that there's not much there. I'm really difficult to sort of say where they're going as a club. But as I say, they do seem to grind these results out. They've got that way about them, and it wouldn't surprise me if they finish in the top 5 this season. Do you know what I mean? That's the sort of club they are. They just somehow just sort of get over the line somehow, and then get they might get a Champions League spot, and then we go, oh, he's done a good job, and you kind of go, well, we can't really argue with it. He's still got them there, but they're not convincing, are they? They're just not convincing. And I know a couple of Manchester United fans, and they just say you just genuinely don't know which side's going to turn up. Sometimes they play really well, very dominant, and sometimes they're just so off the pace. It's which makes this prediction actually quite hard, really, because, if you're thinking about the side that West Ham played at London Stadium, I'll be thinking today, do you know what, really fancy us, really do fancy us. But then Manchester United just went and won at Wolves away, and I had that down as a Wolves win, really. I thought that Wolves would have too much for them, but Manchester United did well and grinded out a result. So, look, it's very, very difficult club to predict, and they are still... There's just so much question marks, isn't there, around Man United? You really just don't know where they're going, but they have got a lot of work to do to start building back up to trying to be a side that's going to be competing for titles and things, because they are nowhere near it. You look at like Chelsea, they're kind of in the realms of them, aren't they, at the moment? Chelsea, Man United, clubs that are going through so much change. And this is the opportunity that presents itself to West Ham. And this is the opportunity West Ham have got today. If West Ham can go to Old Trafford and get 3 points, then it puts us in a really, really strong position in regards to Man United. That we'll really create a bit of a gap there. But Manchester United, of course, will be in the firm knowledge that if they can get a result over West Ham, then they leapfrog us. They're in 6th. So big game. It is a big game today. Before we go on to West Ham, though, I just want to finish up talking about Man United players. As I said, there's not many I really, really admire. I'll be honest. I find I can't stand their captain. Can't stand Bruno Fernandes. Talented player, no doubt, but the guy is just an absolute knob, as far as I'm concerned at times. It drives me mad watching him. He just drives me absolutely bonkers. He's moaning and whinging non-stop every game. Just all I ever see him doing is just complaining, moaning at refs, whinging at players. I just cannot understand how Ten Hag thought, that's my captain. That's the guy to invigorate the side and get them fighting. I just cannot believe it, because I can't imagine anyone more unbearable giving team talks, because he just doesn't stop whinging. But I don't know the guy. He could be a great leader behind the scenes, but certainly on the pitch, I never see it. I just see a sort of sulking brat half the time. Well, when I say half the time, I say about 90% of the time. But there are some players I do admire, though. I think Luke Shaw's he's brilliant, really good player. Suffered quite a fair bit, isn't he, in his career? I think his treatment from Mourinho was pretty harsh over those years. He clearly had issues there, but he's exceptionally talented left back. He really, really is. And when he's at it, he's genuinely one of the top in Europe. He's right up there. Really, really good player. And we've been linked with him, haven't we, a fair few times. And one of them sort of players you think, I wish we'd have got him in. Don't get me wrong, I'm delighted with Emerson. I wouldn't want to be dropping him at all. He's been outstanding for us this season. But Luke Shaw is brilliant, really good player. And the player that stood out for me by a country mile when we played them at London Stadium was Garnacho. The only one that really sort of seems to cause us a lot of problems. And I just admire him. Good player. He looks, Argentinian, decent. He's just got a real bite about him, bit of nastiness, but he's quality. He's got some. That goal he scored at Everton, wasn't it? That volley, overhead kick, which he's up there with one of the goals ever in the Premier League. I can't get over the lack of attention it got. Do you ever think that? I was watching it thinking, you haven't seen much more of it. I don't even think it got goal of the month. It's one up there. It's better than Rooney's goal, in my opinion. The one he scored against Man City all those years ago. The same sort of the bicycle overhead kick, But that was exceptionally good. But yeah, really weird. It kind of didn't get the attention I think it deserved. But yeah, he's a good player. I think he's one of their sort of shining lights. They've got sort of a couple of others that are all right. But yeah, Garnacho for me is the sort of standout. As I say, Rashford's just a weird player in terms of his form. He goes through these periods, doesn't he, where he just seems to click and everything seems to go right for him, and you think, he's found it now, and then he just goes way off the ball again, and you can't work him out, can't work the guy out at all. I did say earlier, I think it might have been the summer, I was saying that he's a player that I think could really benefit from a move. Get away from Man United now. Go a slight step down. Go to a club that's chasing. Well, I'll say slight down. Sort of, let's say the same realms of Manchester United are, fighting for European places, but maybe without that pressure. Because Manchester United, I think there is a pressure at that club that's slightly different to, say, the likes of West Ham, the likes of your Villas and things like that. Aston Villa aren't expected to go and win every game. There's not a pressure in every game. Whereas I think because of Manchester United's history and the fact they are, aren't they, one of the biggest clubs in the world, if not the biggest? They're like you. There's an expectation that they're to deliver all the time. I just don't know. I get sometimes the impression there's a few of those players that struggle with that. And I get that. It must be hard. It must be difficult to sort of go into that realm. And I look at Rashford and think, I bet if he went to a Villa, if he went to a West Ham, if he went to someone like that, I reckon he'd thrive. I really do. I think he'd really benefit of a change. But look, he's there and he looks like he's going to be there for a little bit longer anyway. But they're a club that I think that are, you look at, predicting their seasons. How can you predict a Man United season? So difficult, because you watch them some weeks and I think to myself, they're lucky to be in the top half. And then I watch them the next week, and then I think, God, they're going to be in the top 4. You know what I mean? It's so difficult. You just don't know what you're going to get at Man United. Very, very difficult team to predict. But ultimately, they have been poor overall. And I think that I don't see Ten Hag being there for the long term at all. I think this will be his last season. I genuinely do think that, unless of course they can go on an amazing run at the moment. But let's hope they bloody don't, and I hope we don't bloody start now because, well, they've obviously beaten Wolves, but West Ham have got to put in a good performance today because I think it's going to be a tough game. On to West Ham then. I mean, as I've said, we are so close to the last game, the draw with Bournemouth, which makes this so. I don't know about you. I'm struggling to be up for this game in terms of excitement, confidence levels. My confidence levels aren't very high. I was really underwhelmed by the performance against Bournemouth. I thought it was flat. We looked tired. We just didn't look up for it, and I'm really disappointed. Really, really disappointed, and frustrated with the lineup. Frustrated with the attitude to the game. I found the whole thing just, not one. I didn't come away from it with any real positivity. The only sort of positivity you can maybe drag from that was that we played badly against a side that were in form and we still didn't lose. And maybe you go, is that a sign of a good side? I've always said that about others. When they're playing badly, they still go out something. So look, and then let's be honest, we could have won the game. I mean, we didn't deserve it, but I mean, we had a couple of chances in that to win the game. But I actually thought the second half we did improve a bit, and we it probably was a bit of an even contest actually. The second half, the first half we were terrible. But overall, it was a frustrating performance, and we're going to need a lot better than that. With David Moyes, I find that he's at the moment picking 11 players based on who they are. You know, I think he's thinking, well, I can't drop Souček. Heaven forbid, heaven forbid drop Souček. He can never be dropped, whatever the weather. Souček plays, Phillips plays, Ward-Prowse plays, Kudus plays. It's like I think he's listing all the players out that he has to play, and then he's just trying to fit them into the squad, even though he hasn't got the position for them, which just, for me, is wrong. This isn't a game of FIFA. This is really important. James Ward-Prowse is not a left winger. I mean, I've seen some of the predictions on the team last time for the game against Bournemouth, and I remember people saying, "Yeah, that's what he's going to do. He's going to play all that midfield," which was I understood. That's what I was half expecting. But as a manager, he needs to surely just play the best players for their role. I understand it's harsh on some players. I understand that you've got to have an awkward conversation. You're going to say to, "I know you're playing well. I know you've been really good. However, you're going to be on the bench because you're not a left winger." And I'm not saying that necessarily to James Ward-Prowse. I'm saying that to Thomas Souček, actually. I want to see Ward-Prowse playing behind the front, more advanced. Left winger needs to go to corner because corner can play on the left. You can't then put Calvin Phillips out there because you're desperate to keep on. That's what Moyes is doing. And I think that's where players, and you can just see against Bournemouth, there are players out on that pitch that are in positions they just don't feel comfortable in. And it's just evident all the time. And I wish he would stop doing that. It's so, it's causing so many problems. It really is causing us a lot of issues. Yeah, really annoyed with that. And I think that was very evident against Bournemouth that we had too many players simply in the wrong places on that pitch. And it's what's hampering our performances, I think. But that being said, David Moyes, of course, has come out. We're going to do a video on this this week. We're doing a video tomorrow, actually, with Blowing Bubbles magazine. That'll be really interesting, actually. We're going to talk about David Moyes in a lot more detail and, of course, talk about this new deal of his. So do stay tuned for that. That's going to be a really interesting conversation, actually. I'm quite excited about it. And because it's going to be quite... Well, it's the big debate, isn't it? David Moyes, his future, and where we'll be staying as manager, because according to the manager himself, a deal is moving forward. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure he will be getting a contract. I'm pretty sure he will sign one. So I think that is what's going to happen. Would that be a good thing for the club? Who knows? I mean, at the end of the day, his results have obviously been, on paper, very good for West Ham. You can't deny that. But there is frustrations there, I understand. And it was evident against Bournemouth, wasn't it? Let's be honest, that the style of football wasn't great. And I know he comes out at the end, and to be fair to him, he did complain about himself. He said, I don't know what was going on. The players looked flat, looked like they'd been on holiday. But we've got to put it right against Man United, and I've got to be honest, my confidence levels are not very high. But David Moyes is going to get a big boost in this game. Naya Fagerd is back in the squad. He'll be available. I imagine he will be starting. Of course, Morocco are out of the Africa Cup of Nations, which are out earlier than expected, which is a boost to West Ham. We need him back. Our back line has been an issue this season. And although Fagerd hasn't been, let's say, the most reliable at times. I still think he is a good defender on his day, and I think we need him back. We do need him back. So I think that's going to be a nice boost for us today, and I really hope we do see a bit more of a solid back line, a good performance today. Obviously, Lucas Paqueta, though, is the blow, isn't it? He's still injured. We don't know really when he's going to be back, but I saw, I think it came out this week about it possibly could be another month out. I don't believe that to be the case. I think the club have always maintained it be around the month mark. And there's videos of him now on the training pitch. I know he's not doing full training, but he is on the training pitch and doing running drills and things like that. So I don't foresee it being as long as that. I think it will be quite soon, but we need him back. We really lack that creativity, don't we, in the middle? Well, I know he plays on the left, but he just drifts in, doesn't he? But we have significantly missed that. Mikel Antonio, I think this game's come a bit too soon for him, which is a shame, but he is getting very close. Again, look, I know that he wasn't in the best form before his injury, but we missed him. We missed that option. We missed that outlet. Even as a left winger, do you know what I mean? And what another option to have? Just chuck Mick out there. Do you know what I mean? He can cause some problems. We do need some more options. That's the problem at the moment. I do feel like our hands are tied, but West Ham didn't capitalise in the January transfer window. We never do we? Let's be honest. In the January, we never seem to get it right. It was a really poor window overall. I'm still quite pissed off about it, as you can imagine, and you can probably tell. So look, I'm going to predict my team. I want your predictions in for this game, of course. If you get it right, you enter the draw, and then we send you something from our shop. So do just let us know what you think of this one. This has been a tough one for me to do. I'm going to be honest, not predicting the team, but the result. I'm really sorry about it in advance. Well, this is my team: Areola in goal, Soufal back at right back. That was a bit of a tough one because I think Ben Johnson's actually been pretty good for West Ham. But I don't know what it is. I just fancy now Soufal's available again and probably well rested. I'm leaning more to Soufal for this one. I just think we might need it. I think we're going to need a bit of bite in this game. We're away from home. We need a bit of aggression, and I don't want to see us getting bullied today. I'm not saying Ben Johnson would do, but there's a part of me that just wants a little bit of that in there. And he's a bit of a bulldog, isn't he, old Soufal? I think we might need it. So I'm going for Soufal, Zuma, and Agurd as my back line today. I'm worried about Zuma. I mean. My word, he was absolutely hobbling about that pitch against Bournemouth. He looks broken. He is absolutely broken. I'm struggling with it, but I struggle with the Mavropanos-Agurd combo. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll do Mavropanos Ogbonna. They obviously performed really well this season. Did fantastic well against Arsenal away. That's the result that's given me hope, a little bit of hope. That Arsenal away performance. Hope can we do something like that today? I don't know. I'm not overly confident. But yeah, this is my back line. I've gone for Soufal, Zuma, Agurd, and Emerson, of course, at left back, who's been exceptional for us this season. Alvarez and Phillips as my two sort of midfielders. I want James Ward-Prowse playing more advanced behind Bowen as a front man. I want Kudus out on the right and Maxwell Cornet out on the left. I know that won't be the team. I'm not stupid. I know that he won't play Cornet. I don't get why. I don't understand it. He'll do the same. I'm predicting that he'll put Ward-Prowse out on the left again. But I don't know. I don't know for certain. Obviously, I don't know the team at the moment. But I just wish Moyes would pick players that are better suited for those roles. I understand you've then got to have those awkward conversations. You've then got to say to Souček, I know you've had a decent season. I know you've got to go, but we need to drop you for this one, mate, because I need space. You've got to do that. But it feels like he's not doing that. He's got his trusted team, and you know what he's like. He's got his trusted players, and he won't drop them, and that's it. But we need a good performance today. My word. Look, these are sometimes the moments when West Ham put it out of the bag, isn't it? When you go into games when you are so certain, you go, West Ham are not going to get a result. West Ham are absolutely going to get beaten today, which is how I feel. That's usually when West Ham pull it out of the bag and suddenly put out a great performance. I mean, they did it against Tottenham, they did it against Arsenal. That gives me hope this season. It gives me that hope that we can go and do something there. But considering the fact that we've played just so poorly against Bournemouth, Man United, of course, going away and getting a ridiculous win at bloody Wolves. I mean, 4-3, wasn't it? 97th minute winner. I think they'll be buoyed by that. They'll know they can go sick today. And let's be honest, our record at these grounds is not great, especially under David Moyes, and not good at all. So yeah, let's hope that we can put it out of the bag. But I'm sorry to say this. I think we're going to lose this game. I've put down a 3-1 loss. I'm really not feeling confident. I really bloody hope. Right? I know people say, "Oh, you're being so negative." I think I'm quite a positive person when it comes to West Ham. I really try and look on the bright side all the time. But I think it's because the Bournemouth game was so close. If the Bournemouth game was a week ago, I probably would feel a little bit more confident, just thinking that we've had enough time now to sort of draw under that. It's become a bit of a distant memory. It's the fact it's so fresh in the memory that's making me think, just do not fancy this at all. But look, maybe it will suit us because we know what's going to be set up today. We know the system. We know that this is going to be a significantly counter-attack set up by David Moyes. It's going to be Moyes' ball, absolutely. Sit back, defend, and try and counter, and try and nick a game via set pieces, etc., or the counter-attack. That is how we're going to set up. Could be brilliant. It could be brilliant. It could play into our hands. Man United are absolutely not going to come into this game and want to sit back. They can't. They're at home. It's Manchester United. They're not going to just defend this game. So maybe it will suit us. And let's be honest, they're not great. They're not good. They just conceded 3 against Wolves. They've got a shit back line. So we need to exploit that. But I'm not confident. I'm not. I just can't be confident after that performance. But look, we've got Kudus back. We've got Bowen playing. We've got Phillips now. Hopefully, you feel like he's settled in a little bit better. He's had his first game out of the way. Look, it wasn't... I know he made the mistake, but I hate the fact he's getting a bit of bad press. He's only just played his first game for a long while in Premier League. There's lots to be a little bit optimistic about. You've got James Ward-Prowse, as I've said, with his deliveries, and we've got a Gerd back. There's things to be optimistic about. But at the moment, I'm going to go with the loss. I mean, there's a part of me, I'm talking myself into thinking, actually, we might get something. I'd take a point now. I really would. But, I mean, if we could go there and get 3 points, it'd be fantastic. But, no, I'm not overly confident. But I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Hope I'm wrong. Come on, you irons.